Now, so I had a chance to meet Matthias before we started this program tonight. And I was interested in how he accomplished everything that he has. And he says, Michael, it's quite simple. You have the way you behave, and you have the way that you want to behave. And all you have to do is align the two. And it sounds super easy, but I love ice cream too much to give it up. I want to not eat ice cream. That's my goal, and I fail it almost every night. So if you can teach us how to break bad habits, and I think that's what you're going to do, then I think you're in for a great presentation. So let me show a very quick video that will also do a better job than me of summarizing what Matthias has achieved.
Seven times gold, silver, or bronze in World Championships and Paralympic Games, Matthias Berg, one of Germany's most successful handicapped sportsmen. An active participant in the Paralympics 7 times, remarkably in both the Summer and the Winter Games. Whether on snow or on the track, whether it be sprinting, long jump, or high jump, the 52-year-old Berg was an extremely versatile athlete and still holds 3 world records to this day. This versatility can be seen throughout the Swabian's entire life. Matthias Berg is a lawyer and a passionate musician, performing as a soloist in concerts all over the world. But his true love is sports. Even after ending his competitive career, Matthias Berg has remained committed to disabled sports. Since the Games of 2000 in Sydney, he has boosted the ZDF Paralympics team with his cheerful and open punditry. You wonder around things at first when he commentated the swimming. Normally you'd say, with that time of his, he already has 1 foot in the final. They'll say that whenever a leg amputee swims, and then they've noticed the guys competing in the sports want completely normal sports coverage. Matthias Berg, remarkable as an athlete, and above all, as a human being.
So please welcome Matthias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you. I think I'll stand here. Mr. Lahmann could stand here. I need a little help. So thank you so much for inviting me. And Paul Salwald, thanks a lot for the invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here. And now we're talking about ice cream. Yeah, I have to admit I have the same problem. I love ice cream in the evening. The only difference is I don't have such a stupid goal not to eat ice cream. So I match my behavior and that one I want to behave. So easy. And see the ice cream at you. So switch the rest of the dinner. Then ice cream. Well, how are we doing? We're doing a little bit of thinking, speaking, maybe laughing about breaking down barriers, because when we telephoned and we're looking for a title and looking for what is the issue for today, for the evening, we thought that the last year's motto, which was diversity and inclusion, is a good thing to have it here as a little bit of last year and having a look into this year. So I am representing now diversity and inclusion. Diversity because as a German in Switzerland, that's diverse enough, I think. And inclusion, of course, also because I have red hair. So I take just both. I would like to give you a little bit of an insight of what I was experiencing in my life, and I took 5 decisions, what I say as a little bit of a title, successful mindset, because I'm convinced that a successful mindset, a good mindset, helps us to have a lot of fun of what we are doing and being successful. Not being successful whatever it takes and then try to have a little bit of fun. I think that's the wrong direction. First is, what do I love? What do I like? Where do I burn for? But burning is maybe in burnout times not the real expression for that. But I think with these 5 decisions, burnout doesn't exist. Because fun and quality is what matters much more. Yeah, we have seen the little video clip, which was made by the ZDF, that's the second public TV station in Germany, for the London Paralympic Games 2012, because they wanted to introduce to the public who sits in the studio and explains what's the difference between a racing wheelchair and a day-to-day chopper. And is it fair that a double amputee competes in the same class with a one-leg amputee? And how does it work with this classification and other things? Oh, by the way, can you hear me good? Is it good? Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And what I would like to tell you. So, and if I'm stumbling with English words, I just throw the German word, and I think you can help me out if possible. Thank you. Yeah, 2 pictures, because that video clip was a little bit fast. The one thing is, why does this guy with 2 short arms and 3 fingers in each hand play the French horn? The French horn is said could be difficult, and but why? Because my parents are both musicians, professional musicians, and I'm in the middle. I have an elder brother, and I'm the sandwich child, so an elder brother and a younger sister, and both of them are musicians also. My brother is a solo timpanist in a radio symphony orchestra. My sister is a mezzo-soprano, a singer, and my parents saw musical talent in me also, and they asked themselves, what can this child learn as an instrument? And they did this question the other way around. They asked first what is definitely not possible. For example, piano. Piano, some more fingers are not bad, and a little bit more of control of the fingers, no chance. The string instruments, the violin, viola, you have this bow you have to work with. You need more longer arms, not possible. So you have the wind instrument, which is the clarinet or the flute. That's a 10-finger system. If you count that, you realize something is missing to 10. So, brass instruments. The trumpet you have to hold high. The trombone has this long thing, and the French horn is perfect, because I always say God counted very well. He gave me 3 fingers, and the French horn has 3 valves for the left hand. So with a little bit of an adaptation from the mouthpiece to here, which is originally inside here, comes up here, it could be possible that this child could learn French horn. Problem was, at that time I was 5.5 years old. And now ask that kind of child, would you love for a whole lifetime that instrument to play? No chance. So my parents thought, now we buy an expensive French horn, we have to rebuild it for even more money, and then he doesn't like that. Is it possible to have a cheap try? So is there a similar instrument, just to see if breath, teeth, and if he likes it? And yes, it is. I would say the medieval predecessor of the French horn is the hunting horn. So the medieval, not digital smartphone for huntsmen because they have signals of I shot a deer, I shot a fox, I shot a colleague or whatever. And this is that kind of phone. And my parents thought, yes, that could be good for just to try. And I got that short after when I got 6, that was Christmas time, and my father, he bought the same instrument, and then we played for about 1 year, that kind of instrument, a lot of signals, and I loved it, and it worked quite well. So my parents decided, when I was 7, to give me a French horn. That's why I play the French horn, and it came out quite well. Became a professional musician. And the other thing I would love to show you is what did I do with my 2 studies, French horn and at the same time the law. I became a lawyer when I did my 2nd exam, and I became a public servant in the the country Ministry of Internal Affairs of Baden-Württemberg, which is right at the border of Basel. That's where all the Porsche Swiss guys push their foot down. So that's Germany then, in that country. So, but I didn't work in the ministry, but at the lowest administrative level, which is the counties. And I started in a very small county, then I had the chance to work for the Ministerpräsident of Baden-Württemberg for 3 years, from the year 2000 on. The first year I was one of his personal people, so joining him wherever he is. And the other 2 years it was my duty to develop project management, a project of executive career possibilities for the whole employees of Baden-Württemberg, which is almost the figure as PwC, about 230,000 employees in Baden-Württemberg. And the question was, how do we get the best people and what are we doing with those people? And after 2 years that project was finished and it's rolled out. Nowadays it's in place. And that was very interesting because I had to visit about, 30 companies, from the very small ones, 30 people, up to Porsche, SAP, Daimler, or the harbor administration in Hamburg, for example, just to see what kind of development program do they have to develop people, to find and to develop people. And I translated that into what is needed for the administration of a country or the federal state. That was a very extreme good learning part in my life. And after that I had the chance to become, it's called Vice County Commissioner. So Baden-Württemberg is this federal state is divided in 44 counties. And one of those counties you had an elected commissioner and the second man in the administration. That position was free and I applied and I got that. And there was I was for 11.5 years the head of a division of about 300-400 people, and I was the second for 1,800. So whatever I invented to find people and to develop people, now I had to prove that I'm able to lead people. And in that time I developed new ideas. What is important if you want to lead others, to give others being a role model or develop people. And I came to the conclusion that the first step is always lead yourself. Leading yourself, if that is fine, if that is okay, you can think about leading others. And so I developed a seminar program which since 4 years I'm just doing by my own. I created my own company and it's called Set No Limits Consulting. And I'm doing that. I'm developing people in leading yourself one day and leading others second day. And what I love to do beside that is develop sportsmen and sportswomen by mental strength. So I'm supporting teams and individual top-level sportsmen, sportswomen, just to have mental strength to be at the right moment, in the right position, to be free and powerful. Just to bring over the stage what is important in that moment. I love to do that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you in pictures. That sounds a little bit as if my life would have been like a, yes, you know that, stock exchange. You buy the stock on the left side and you sell it on the right side, or they carry you out of the room then. With a little bit of some, which is not so good, but it was not always like that. I know also the parts of life which are like this. When you are marked as an outsider, if people shout you cripple, or 30 years ago you would have been gassed in the Drittes Reich. So those parts are heavier to bury. I'm sure everybody of you knows that. And in was almost impossible to answer. It is the question, why me? Why does it happen to me? Why am I the one who is treated unfair, or in family ways, in professional, in health questions? It's that called me, or catched me, caught me. Why me? Why is it me? Why do I have short arms and not others who shout at me cripple or short arm or whatever? Why me? And I give you the answer in, I don't know, half an hour. How I could come along with this kind of question, because that's an important step to get out of this. You're stuck in a point. For me, I never ever, when I ask, oh, why is it me? Why does it happen to me? I didn't find a way to get out here. Nowadays, I have a solution. But I would like to go to the very beginning of my life, because I think many of you are wondering, where does this disability come from? It comes from this. Contagan. I think in Switzerland it was called Contagan also. In many other countries it was called thalidomide. It was the market leader in 48 nations. So I always like to say it was the printing machine for this company. It's Chemie Grünenthal in Stolberg, close to Aachen, a family company. And it was sold from 1957 to 61, so 4 years. And the problem was when there was enough hints that the drug and the disabilities, the rate of disabilities of babies was rising right through the roof in that time, when doctors said there could be a connection. You should stop to sell it until we have clarified if there is a connection or not. And that time was 1.5 years, because this company tried to avoid that step, because it's money printing machine. Yeah. So what was the effect of Contagan in the very early pregnancy? It was dangerous. From week 4 to week 7. Week 4 to week 7. That's so early that 99% of the women had no clue that they are pregnant. Because you often hear that if you are pregnant, no cigarettes, no alcohol, no drugs, no narcotics, no nothing. But if you have no clue that you are pregnant, you just have no chance. And therefore we were about 12,500 babies born with lots of disabilities. What is growing between week 4 and 7? We are as big as half a fingernail to 1 fingernail, about that, but the extremities, so legs and arms, and some internal things. I have a stomach problem, a digestion problem, I had a square hips, square backbones, and so some collateral things, which don't help me now. I'm happy of that, but you see, this is the result also. Yeah, counting on. That's the reason. Very easy. From these 12,500, about 7,500 survived the first weeks and month. I was baptized 1 week after I was born because nobody knew if I would survive or not. I'm happy I did. Yeah. I grew up in Detmold. Detmold is in the middle of Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia, one of the federal states in the middle. Very beautiful town. This is the castle of Detmold. And I was very lucky with my parents because they did everything right. Not everything, okay. But in the beginning they were superb because they thought, how do we deal, our family, with this kind of child? Because you are so involved in your own thinking. How can this kind of disabled child find a job, find a family, cope with life, grow up, go to school? Because if you don't have this kind of disability and you just see very short arms and 3 fingers which are not really working at the beginning, you only think it's impossible to have a regular life. So what you can't bear also is that children put their fingers on it and laugh, or other people say stupid things to yourself and things like that. So my parents were scared at the beginning what would happen if we show these children to the public, to friends, to neighbors, go shopping, go, I don't know, hiking or whatever. What could happen? But they did everything right because they thought we have to get used. Many people, most of the people, to this kind of child, because for the first time it's brand new. Everybody watches, everybody looks. Second, third time, maybe not everybody, but most of the people. 5th time, less. 10th time, you get used to. And 15th, 20th time, it's normal. So my parents thought, if we bear this not easy beginning, when this little child, this little Matthias is growing up, and then realizing how are people reacting on him, everybody know him, and then he has no problems. And exactly that happened. That was perfect. And my mother had some hard moments. For example, she was shopping, setting me on where the cashier is, and a lady behind her was shouting quite loud, "What happened in that family that this is the result?" Or she was, a lady talked to her and said, she knew that, but only from shopping, that lady, and she said, a disabled child in a family, you don't have to bear that. There are disabled homes, give it away, that child, give it away. Or very hard, from my father's family, there was someone, took my arm, looked at it and said, "That's completely useless, you can cut that." So she had very hard moments, but she stayed and said, no, a 2nd, 5th, 10th time. And I had a fantastic childhood there, because everybody knew me. Red hair, always funny, and short arms. Very normal, like other children also. I was allowed to go cycling, skiing, climbing on trees. I did everything my brother and sister did, what the neighbor children did. I was in a regular school. Diversity and inclusion. Inclusion nowadays tried to bring a disabled child into a regular class. Not easy. The same for my mother, because the teacher said, "Hey, no problem. We tried that. I've never seen that before, but let's see. Will work." But the other parents, they said, "Oh, a disabled child in the same class, then the teacher has only to look after that child and my child has a disadvantage. Maybe a problem. But the teacher's reaction was super. He did not say, okay, then sorry, you can't be in that class. He said, hey, parents, please come, we do an evening. We talk about that. And he said, nobody of us can say for sure if that works or not. Let's try. Give it a try. Let's try half a year, and after half a year, we do a little bit of a break, go into us and ask, is it possible or not? And then the parents said, okay, half a year, first grade is nothing, that's okay. And that question, not one time anymore ever was rising. So it was easy. But my mother had to fight for, and that teacher, inclusion. Sometimes as parents with a disabled child, or teachers who want to have a disabled child in the class, you have to fight for that. You have to stand there and say, not, you are not right. He said, yes, I see what you want to say, but let's try. Give it a try, and then we talk later if we saw if it works. That's important, because when we were talking at the phone about this evening, I was asked to, are there some do's or don'ts with people with a disability? And the best thing I can say is try. And then you see if it works. There is no do and no don'ts. It's just a little step to say, okay, let's try. If he can't do it, or she can't do it, I'm doing the first step. I do this little kind of bridge. And then it works. So I had superb 10 years. Then we moved to the southwestern part of Germany, 1 hour south of Stuttgart, in a very small town. And that was called Trossingen. Trossingen is... that's a picture of end of May. No, it's not so bad, not so bad. But, yeah, because my father got a new job, he became the director of a musical academy. And maybe you know Trossingen. Whenever you have seen an accordion with a shield Horner on it, that's made in Trossingen. Or mouth harmonica, most of them come from Trossingen. So that's Trossingen, yeah. I was 10 then, and I like to say I had a triple disability. Red hair, short arms, no Swabian accent. And if you know Switzerland and you try to learn German, just forget it, that is no German. Sorry for the Swiss at the moment, but yeah, it is like here, like Trossingen, it is an accent. And the smaller the village, the heavier the accent. So I didn't understand the teacher, I didn't understand our neighbors, I didn't understand nothing. The only thing I understood was cripple, short arm, redhead, go in the disabled home. I was not invited to birthday parties. I was not allowed to play in the big intermission at school. I was not inside. I was standing outside. And what was very hard for me was sports lessons. Maybe you know that from your school career. If you have two teams, the two best of the class, one left, one right, and then in ping pong, you are collected. And in the first years, I always had to wait to the final. I was the last who was collected. And that was very bitter because I always was fast and I was good in everything which was a ball play. Soccer, basketball, handball, because I had a good feeling for that. But that was not interesting. That was the outsider. Nobody wanted me in his team. Of course, some years later they were lucky when I was in the team, even when I was chosen the last. But that was a longer development. So I had some very dark years, and I got in the 4th grade, then I changed the 5th grade, and there I had a little bit of a sadistic pupil, and he loved to grab me from the back, beside the shoulders, and just throw me on the ground. Oh, that was awful. 1.5, 2 years, almost every day. Nobody was interested in that. So nowadays you would say mobbing, but in that times also, yeah. But you didn't have the word for that, and I couldn't bear that. And then if you look at the psychological little books, what happens to a child when it's unlucky completely, the tests and things you have to do at school, they are going down. I had no joy in cycling, no joy in sport, no joy. I didn't want to go out of the house, out of my room, and I didn't play anymore the French horn. I didn't tell much at home what happened to me. Sometimes my parents got to know that by teachers or by neighbors or by parents or friends, but they realized I didn't play the horn anymore. I had my first competition when I was 9 from Detmold, from where I was very happy and lucky. First youth competition. So you have a regional, the winner goes to the federal state, the winner goes to the national level. I was on the national level and got second place. I played Mozart horn concerto when I was 9. So they said I'm talented. I think I was. But then in Trossingen for 1 year, I didn't look at the horn even for 1 year. And then my parents said, no, we don't waste talent. Your brother's playing, your sister's singing, and you play the French horn now. And I said, no. Yes, you play. And then everyday fights. And my mother then asked, did you play the French horn? I said, yes, I did. I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I played very softly. You know that, huh? Yeah, I see. Yeah, good. Yeah. You do everything to avoid practicing, but my mother always was stronger and had good ears. And she was quite tough. She's now almost 92, still driving the car, still having groups to teach. And, I think sometimes I had good genes for that. So, and I have to play the French horn again. And then looking for a teacher was a story. I very early realized how to get rid of teachers. Just by saying, no, I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't. You do that for a couple of weeks and then the next teacher shows up. And when I was 13, my father said, okay, that's enough now. That's enough. I found a project in Freiburg, which is about 1.5 hours by train from Trossingen. And at the Hochschule für Musik, that's the University of Music, the College of Music, they have a new program for pupils. So if you are talented and you do an entry exam, you can have lessons at a professor, like the students, as a pupil, when you are talented. And my father said, okay, that's what we're doing now. So he was always my pianist, my accompanist. And so he grabbed me and we played. I had to pick up a program with a modern piece. And then I did the exam and I passed it. And there I felt, hey, wow, it's not bad. Now with these very old students, being 20 years and older, having the same professor, he was from Basel. He was in the Radio Symphony Orchestra in Basel here, the solo horn, Jaroslav Kotulan. I don't know if he lives still anymore. And he was professor in Freiburg also. So I had to go to Freiburg then, every 2 weeks during the semester, mostly by train. And train rides, I hated, because always the same movie was showing up. The same movie always was. I was entering the thing, sitting there, and the people sitting across of me, they looked at my hands, and when I looked back, they looked like this. I didn't like, no, that's, no, I didn't. So that's two reactions coming together. One is we are born with, and the second one, we are educated. The reaction we are born with is Neugier, which is curiosity. So whatever is brand new and not normal and not regular, we turn our heads. Of course, very normal. We don't think about that, we just do it. Very normal and absolutely okay. So if I show up in the train, people watch at me. Short arms, red hair. Not normal. The second reaction, what we were educated. If you remember being, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old, and at the hand of your mother, you're walking through your village. And then a wheelchair guy shows up. What are you doing? Being 6, 7, 8 years old, you point with your finger and you shout very loud, "Hey mama, what is with that man sitting in the wheelchair?" And your mother doesn't say, "Hey, go and ask him." No, they say, "Psh, shut up, be quiet, put down your hand, don't shout, be happy that you are not disabled. You don't stare at disabled persons." You do that 3 times in your life, and then you definitely know you don't have to stare at people with a disability. I'm sitting now in the train. You're curious, oh, what's that? Let's see. And then I look back and then, no, it's forbidden to look or stare at people with a disability. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. If you sit for 90 minutes with people who always to just talk or whatever. And the problem was, even worse, nobody talked because nobody looked at anybody. Everybody, and that was breathtaking. Like if you were pressed to a wall with a hand pushing you against the wall. So very uncomfortable. I hated that, really hated that. And that was for about 2 years. Always the same movie. And I thought, okay, let's look out of the window, then that's the most relaxing thing you can do, and then you know the trees with first name, surname, and the whole Black Forest, staring outside. So, and that was for about 2 years, and after 2 years I was again in a train ride, looking outside the window, and in the peripheric viewing, you know that, huh? You look at that direction, but you can realize what is over there. You see the people, you see movements, and I always watched the people. And then, I was 15 then, a lady was sitting opposite of me, and she was looking at my hands, and I thought, oh, yeah, like everybody. Then she looked at my French horn, I had that between my knees, and then she looked into my face, into my eyes. And I thought, oh, that's new. Nobody did that before. What's happening here? And she was looking and looking and looking. And then I was too curious. I did my head in that direction. And then we got eye contact. And with the eye contact, she smiled. And that is a third very important reaction. What happens if you smile to a foreigner without talking, without anything, just smiling to a foreigner? What is the foreigner doing? He smiles back, of course, yeah. That's an automatic reaction. You don't even think about that. What did I? I smiled. And then she started. What is that black case? A French horn? Where are you going with that? To Freiburg? What are you doing in Freiburg? Horn lesson? And so I stumbled into that conversation, and she was tough. She one question after the other she fired onto me, and I always had to answer, and then I realized, hey, that's not so bad. That's good. That's super. That's fun. And everybody was in that, and it was a superb train ride. Very exciting and lovely and friendly and just like that. And on my way back in the train, I was thinking, that was the first train ride. It was as I wished it all the time. Why was it so different? And being 15, I thought it must have been a connection with just looking into your eyes and smile. And because I love playing always and trying things, new things, I thought, okay, for the next train ride, you take a rule with you. And that rule is, you look at somebody sitting opposite of you who has no clue what is happening, and then you look into that eyes and count internally 1, 2, 3, or 21, 22, 23. And if that person looks at you, you do this. And then you wait what happens. Because I never tried that. I have no idea what happens. So, okay, like a hero next time. I went into the train and said, hey, you bloody fool, what are you doing? That can't work. You never did that. That's not possible. That completely red face, wet fingers. And then I said, no, you have to do that. You have that rule and now you have to try. Okay, and then I said, okay, who looks a little bit friendly, or maybe you're the... Then I stuck to a person and said, okay, no, you are my victim now. I stared into the eyes and internally 1, 2, 3, and the person looked a little bit like this, and zack, we were in a conversation. I did a smile, she smiled back, and woof, we were in the conversation. I have no idea how it worked, but it worked, which was very important. And for me, it was so important. It was like a deep breath, because I thought I'm the victim outside society, and I need somebody who says or invites me to get in and to say, okay, what do you want to say? What would you like? And there I realized I'm the person I'm waiting for. It's myself. I can do it by myself, but I have to do it. Otherwise, I wait for a Zufall, for a coincidence for the next years. So I said, okay, that's my training field now. And every train ride, I trained. And 15, 16, 17, I had some more concerts, I had the first competitions in sport, and everywhere where I didn't know anybody, I said, okay, that's my training field. Now, whom do I want to talk to? And then I tried. And I never ever had a negative thing. Never ever. And I tried to develop and become better and better in that. Because I felt also up to date. Maybe I gave somebody of you, we shook hands. And it's a very normal thing that if you have never ever met a person with short arms like me, you have no clue how to handle that. You stand there and say, oh, how does that work? Can I grab like normal? Or do I squeeze him? Because I don't want to do that. But not shaking hand is not polite, because here in Switzerland, Germany, we shake hands for saying hello. And if I see this question mark on the face, I do a step forward, I put out my hand, and then my opposite person knows, oh shit, I have to go through this. And whenever I did that with some of you, it was successful. And it wasn't, I think maybe you had a little bit of hesitation to say, oh, how does that work? And I say, for me, it's so easy to make this little bridge. For you, you have no clue, you have no chance. How could you do that? So I say, and that's a part of inclusion, to motivate my disabled colleagues to say, okay, try, give it a try. It's the best thing. And the best thing as a non-disabled person to step over this little bridge is ask, how do we do that? Can I squeeze you? Would you like this, the Japanese style? Say hello. Or what is the best for us? So if you ask, and if I do this little step, everything is fine. And the feeling inside is, super, we made it. And not, we didn't cope to that situation, that was not so good. And you're thinking about that, and it is a thought which grabs you, and it grabs energy. But if we found a way to say hello, it spends energy. You say, yeah, I did that. Do that before, first time, oh, no problem. Okay, next time, say hello to whomever you meet. yeah, and then came the part of Abitur, so that was the Matrik, or how do you say, the final exam of the school. And I thought, what should I do for professional? And at that time, I knew I became quite a good French horn player in Freiburg with this professor. I played the same pieces as the solo students high up in their studies. And I said, okay, maybe I could become a French horn player, a horn player for profession. So, but I wasn't sure if that could be with the disability the right thing. And so I made this Jugend musiziert, this youth competition for the last time. I did that, I won regional, I won federal, and I won the national with the maximum points. And I was not sure, was that good or was it not good? So I went to the jury and asked, is it possible for me to become a French horn player, professional? And in that jury was Professor Michael Hölzel from Detmold. He was at the College of Music in Detmold, horn professor. And he knew me. He was a good friend with my parents in the former times. And he said, okay, you want to become a professional, then you have to know German orchestras are old-fashioned. Old-fashioned means no experiments. You are an experiment. You have a different horn, and your right hand is not in the bell. It's there for intonation, for sound effects, but you don't have it there. But nobody will ask you, Mr. Berg, how do you do that with the effects and with intonation? They will say, okay, we take somebody where we know what we get. So not something new, no experiments. That could happen. And I thanked him very from my heart, because that was very important. And I said, okay, I don't put all my eggs in that basket. What can I do? I need a profession where my head is more important than my body. And my uncle, he was a lawyer in Dortmund. And I telephoned, I made a practice a couple of weeks at him, and he said, yes, law is good. Lawyers are needed everywhere. Which is a pity for everybody who is not a lawyer. But he said, if you're doing a quite well exam, you have a lot of open doors, from companies over being a lawyer, over being a judge, and whatever. Yeah, try that. And so I decided I study law. At the same time, I wanted to become much better in the French horn. So I decided, okay, I'll do a second study beside that at the College of Music, studying French horn. And since 1 year before that, I was a member of the national team in alpine skiing and a member of the national team in athletics. So I did 4 things at the same time. And that was a problem, because I started that with the tools of a pupil. I don't know if you know the tools of a pupil in terms of learning. So my tools were, the day before a test, you can think about what you should have learned. I was fantastic in that. Mastery. So that's possible for 1, 2, 3 semesters, because everything is new, the exams and tests are not so difficult, and I thought, I'm clever enough, yeah, no problem. And learning for me was looking at it one time and then enough. But in 4th semester, I failed a test. And everything I did became a higher level, but not me. It was more difficult in music because you have all the theory things you have to do, not only French horn playing. In law, you have to start to learn every day. I did not. Here, I was in the national team, World Championships, Paralympics, international games. I have 39 German championships also. But you have to train, you have to develop, because the opponents or the athletes from other countries, they get better and better. So the pressure on me was more and more, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I always did, that what was hurting the most. So a little fire here, I stepped on it, a little fire here, I stepped on it, but no clue of concentration, of planning, of organizing yourself. And I thought, I have to stop maybe one national team, I have to stop maybe the music study, I have to stop something. Everything was too much. And then I was very lucky, I had a good moment and I thought, okay, I allow myself to stop something, but only if I tried to do everything very seriously. I really have to try to organize myself, learn, sit down, don't be lazy, don't party, no cinema. Do it, just do it. And I found a good friend. I had no clue by myself because I was stuck in where I was. And that good friend told me the first thing to be excellent in what you do is having a goal. If you have a good goal and you know the reasons why you want to go there, then you practice. What is your goal in sport? I want to be on the stage. Okay, what are you doing? Training. Enough? Sometimes. Yeah, okay. Music. What is your goal? Being on stage, playing. I love to play Mozart and Richard Strauss and things like that with orchestra. What are you doing? Practicing every day. Enough? Yes, I said. Okay, what is your goal in law? A little bit of study. Yeah. That's a completely stupid and useless goal. It is no goal. So you have to fail what you are doing because this is just missing. And he told me how to find the goal, what do you think, what do you plan, what is your mindset to find a goal. And then I found a goal. And the next step he introduced me is this, do it. And what I then did is just plan your next day in writing. In the evening you sit down and you plan every single minute. Which also means you plan when you go partying, you plan when you go to the lake, you plan when to go to the cinema. But more important, you plan what you have to do. And he told me the difference between I have to and I want to. That's an energy thing. The energy in I must do that. The energy level is below zero. If you say, okay, I know I have to do it, but I want to do it because it helps me to be better, to become excellent. Then you have an energy push. And that brought me in sport, in music, in law, brought me very much. And all the things I postponed, I was a big master in postponing. Okay, I'll do it on the weekend. I'll do it when I have time. I'll do it in the semester holiday. No, that was completely overplanned. So the staple of things where the imaginary shield was on it, this I do when I have time, was higher and higher and higher. And with this, it became about half a year and everything was done. And that was super. And I realized my first world records came. I was good in sport, much more concerts all over the world. I was 8 times in Japan for international tours. I was in Australia and Canada and the United States and all Europe. By doing it, just doing it. Yeah, just do it, you know that. And the third thing I learned in my study is this. This is an oak tree. Because I still had the problem during my study with my disability. I have heard sometimes you're crippled or disabled or whatever. People stared at me. Some looked friendly, but most of them like this. Oh, what is this? And that I couldn't stand that. And I had some experiences like I told you in the beginning. A person shook me in a bar. We were standing there with friends and said quite loudly, 30 years ago you would have been gassed by the Nazis. Yeah. Or I was going with my bicycle, I was always on my bicycle, coming from the university, direction home, and somebody shouted after me, to the cassette it goes left. Yeah, concentration camp. So, and I couldn't stand that, I couldn't bury that. And another good friend, he helped me out. He said, that is normal. If you try to get rid of what is normal and what every day will come to you, you will have a very hard life, because you have no chance. What you have to do is change your mindset. That is not something which you have to bury on your shoulder. It is your chance. And I said, yeah, very easy to say. What chance? What kind of chance? And he said, yeah, you like to talk to people? You like to be friendly to people? That's your chance to know somebody which you didn't know 3 seconds ago. So if somebody looks at you, look back and smile. Give a sign to yourself and give a sign to the other one. It's perfectly okay that you look. I would have looked at the same condition or in the same shoes if I were you. And it's a good sign for me also. Smiling about something and the heaviness is just leaving. And I tried that. I trained that completely and very constantly to smile at people, to smile back to people who were watching. And that helped me a lot to get more energy and more. I like to be in public. I love. And this is an oak tree, because I asked my friend, how could I cope with people who say 30 years ago you would have been gassed? And he said, therefore the oak tree is perfect, because there is an old saying, what cares an oak tree if a wild boar is rubbing? Nothing. Nothing. You are the oak tree. Okay, you have to decide first, am I the wild boar or the wild pig, or are you the oak tree? That's a decision you have to make. But I said, okay, I try to be the oak tree. And I would say, I don't know, but 90% of everything which came to me and I didn't like really, I said, okay, oak tree, I just don't care. I don't want to make others' problems to my own ones. If I get angry about somebody who is mean to me, I put his problems onto me, because I see him 10 seconds. But the poor pig in that story is him. Because if somebody has so much unhappiness, so no peace at all inside, that he tells to a disabled person, hey, you cripple, then he is the poor pig, poor guy. So I said, okay, I'm the oak tree, no problem. And that helps a lot to be a little bit lifted up and say, okay, my Flughöhe, so my flight height is high enough to say, no, I don't go that deep. No, I don't argue. I don't argue. And if I have to argue, I ask, excuse me, I didn't get that. Could you please repeat? That's good. Then it gets completely silent in the room. And the other one, the effect is, if you are shot, you get adrenaline into yourself. You can't even think then. You are in flight or fight mode, but not in, what could be the perfect answer to that? It's not possible. So you just ask, sorry I didn't get that, could you repeat please? You give the ball to the other one, you ask the question, you are leading, and you give a second chance. Give a second chance if you can. Because maybe in the moment the words are out of your mouth. You know that maybe you could bite on your tongue and say no. But what is out is out. You never ever can bring it back. If the emotional violence is in the game, you never ever have a chance to have a good relation to that person. You don't forget that. You know that. So, bite your tongue. Sorry I didn't get that. Could you please repeat? That helped me a lot. Now, what are we doing with that? I have two cartoons. This is the one before the train ride. I thought I am the victim. Here's just little 2 steps. And this is so depressing and so hopeless. And I said, no, I'm not the victim. I'm more like this. It's on a golf course. I thought I can improve my handicap here, which is a super word game, and it's a mindset. It's how do I see the world? Okay, where is something where I love to go? I go. My lesson learned is this: you can sit on the left side and say, someday we will all die, Snoopy. Yes, true. But on all the other days we will not. And I say, okay, I switch from the left side to the right side because it's much more fun. Same life. It is not important where fate puts you, but what you create out of it. That's a good thing. I know I was stealing that, but even with Google I didn't find from whom. And so I said, okay, that's mine. So whenever you say, hey, that's mine, okay, I put your name under it. No problem. These are twins. My wife and me, we have twins. But for us, it's number 3 and 4. So we doubled from 1 to 2, and then we doubled from 2 to 4, and now we are careful. You know twins in life, but there are also twins in sentences. One sentence you are listening to, you are hearing, you hear. And the second one, you feel that there is this second sentence. The first one is, I think I can't do that. I think that's not possible. That's what you hear. And what do you feel? I don't want to. And that's quite often. That you hear, that's not possible. I can't do that. I have no time. And you feel, he just doesn't want to do it. And we are doing a little test, a short test, in what is possible and what is not possible. Is everybody in the position to have his right foot with him? Not possible for you, sorry. But you will have fun in watching. So, and now turn it in how the clock is running, in that direction. So, right direction. And now you take your right hand and you make it in the air a 6, the number 6. Okay, watch your leg. Who can do that? Who can do that? Can you do that? Super. So you are the 1% lady. Because 99% of the humans just can't do that, because your right side is controlled by your left brain side. And the brain can't say, hey, down you do this, and up you do the other direction. But if you try with the right foot that, and with your left hand a 6, try that. If that is possible. Try this a couple of times.
Yeah.
Who can do that? Ah, wow, oh, wow, yeah. So if you ever have the situation of, would you please do me a favor, and so on, and he said, no, I can't, and you just say, okay, take your left hand. That is a kind of training, that is a thing of training, that is a willing thing. And with that I come to the why me question. I told you I will solve I have solved this for myself, because why me always taught me and never ever told me what is the next step. But I just switched the question from why me to what for. What for? What for is this experience? What for is it good, that experience? Because from the experience you have a learning chance. You can learn something. Something is in there which put you in the situation where you didn't like to be, and you say, oh, why me? And then nothing. You're looking for the guilty one, and that's it. With what for, you're also maybe looking for the guilty one, but you say, what is my next step to get out of there? And where is the thing not to end there again? So what can I change in my thinking, my behavior, my thinking about other people? So instead of why me, what for? Is it good? And that helped me a lot. This one, everybody knows. That's Henry Ford with Tin Lizzy. That car was made in every color you wished, if it's black. Yeah. And he did a very clever saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. That's it. All the inventions made were made by people who thought, hey, somehow it should be possible. So that's our future things. That's VUCA-Welt. That's, you know VUCA-Welt, huh? Volatile and uncertain and complex and ambiguity and whatever. I said, no, it's not only VUCA, it's DIVA. DIVA is digitalization, it's Industry 4.0, it's V like VUCA-Welt, and it's agile. Everybody has to be agile now. So it's even worse. And I said, no. Stay calm, look at what's happening, try to get your nose ahead, like you did before, and then it could work. Let's go. And not, let's wait, let's make it even more complex. Reduce complexity as much as possible, and then in your mind, many things are clear. Break down your barriers by a powerful mindset. It's so easy. Find your goal and know the reason why you want to get there. Because the reason is your energy source, not the goal. Maybe sometimes you change your goal because on your way to there you think, uh-oh, maybe it's not correct. So you change the reason before and then you change the goal. Because maybe you get older, you'll be in a different company and things like that. The reason is the very important one. And I would love to give you 5 short decisions which helped me to get into a good mindset for myself. The first thing is I take action and not I wait until others will do it. Behind that is Aristoteles. He said 2,400 years ago, the secret of mastery is a strong will. If you really want to reach something, it's perfect. Then you have a very good chance to reach it. Our excuse is, yeah, if I would have more time, if I would have somebody to help me, if I would have more money, then I could do that. No excuses anymore. The Successful in the Canyon. This is from Peter Drucker. He is quite famous, he's fantastic. And he has good thoughts about things and about humans. He says, the more successful, the canyon between the decision, this is important, and doing it is very small. It's not a canyon, it's just a little bit of nothing. If there is a canyon, 1,000 meters deep and 300 meters wide, and you I do this step up. Who gives me a guarantee that I've reached that? Who gives me a guarantee that the other side is better? Who gives me a guarantee that I don't fall? No, start. The successful, they are better in decision and getting it done. When your mind goes, energy flows. If your mind goes in, oh, that's a real problem, I'm not sure if I can do that. You have a different energy level for solving a problem instead of, hey, that's interesting, let's have a look. Let's see how we can work or how can we deal this problem. Where could be a solution? Where your mind goes, energy flows. Are you looking for the go for, or are you doing it? You know the go for this, go for that, go for coffee, go for the, I don't know what. No, don't talk, act. If you are good in this, you hardly ever have a problem in time management because the important things are done because you have a good reason and you just do it. Just do it. Second decision. I take responsibility. And responsibility starts in our minds. That's important because our minds make the words how we talk with ourselves. In sport, in music, in profession, it's very important if you can motivate yourself or if you see the bad things. Your thoughts are the first thing. Control your thoughts and give them the chance to develop themselves. Out of the thoughts come the words, comes the action or the not action and the situation where we are in. And responsibility, I love that word because it's a composition of response ability. It's the ability to respond to situations, to words, to persons, to problems, to solutions, to the world around us and to ourselves. What response do we give ourselves to situations? The mother of excuses is laziness or Depri groove. I don't know, it may be a typical German word. It's I love to be a little bit depressed because it gives me advantages, because it's a superb excuse and others don't hit me because I'm depressed. Yeah. And I found somebody who is quite very good at being depressed. You know Lucy, psychologist, and him. He said, this is my depressed stance. When you're depressed, it makes a lot of difference how you stand. The worst thing you can do is straighten up and hold your head high, because then you'll start to feel better. If you're going to get any joy out of being depressed, you have got to stand like this. I love that. And always, if I think, all the burden is on me and the family, and I think, hey, are you stupid? Think of him, and then straighten up, smile, and then go. Looking for the guilty one is one of the best excuses, because you always find somebody who is guilty for something. Diesel? Okay, then you have the guilty one. Yeah, that's different, because they are really guilty. So, but for most of the things, you're just trying to find somebody, and you find someone. Who sits at my steering wheel in my car? Car is my life. I try most of the time, if I can, sit there. And if I have the wrong direction, then I know the way which is not the correct one. So, wie heißt Detours, also Umwege erhöhen die Ortskenntnis, also wie heißt es auf Englisch? So, detour help you to find your way through other parts of the city where you never have wanted to be. Yeah, or I use the backseat driver. Do you know the backseat driver? The backseat driver is the Klugscheißer im Hintergrund. Is that one who always knows a better solution and always gives, I would do it. And if you say, and then try to make it yourself better. Oh no, I just wanted to help. No responsibility. No, say yes, yes. My firm ground is my belief. I'm Protestant. I love to go to church. And that is a firm ground. You never walk alone. You always have somebody with you. And if I have a problem, I just lay it down and wait. Be active, take responsibility. And somewhere is the answer. I'm very convinced that it is. I'm convinced that everybody needs a firm ground. For me, it's belief. Maybe for you, it's different. But it is worth it to think about, where is my firm ground if I have a personal crisis, a professional crisis, health, family, or whatever. If you know that, you can cope with changes. The better you are in responsibility, the better you can cope with changes. I concentrate on ability, not on disability. So, not what do I miss? Instead of that, what do I have? What talent? What can I do? What can I help? How can I help other people to help me, maybe? So where is the power? Where is the plus? That is our glass we have on our nose. And that's the antenna we send out. You know that maybe, you know Wall Street, the stock exchange, the world thing of money. Yeah. Two colleagues are walking there in the lunchtime, chewing their sandwich, and the boss is passing by in a brand new 911 Porsche, convertible turbo, very expensive. And one pushes the other and says, "Hey, in 1 year, I have such a car also. Yes, I know I have a good company, I have a good boss, and I give my best, and I love to do that." Same story, Zurich Stock Exchange. Two people chewing their thing in the lunchtime. The boss passes by with a brand new 911 Porsche, convertible turbo, very expensive. One pushes the other and says, "Hey, in 1 year, he's walking again." Same situation, completely different mindset. The first one is, what can I do with my talents, with what I have in power in my brain? And the second one is being a little bit of, and if he breaks in skiing his foot, then it's the right person this time. So being being jealous. Thank you. Being jealous a little bit. So what is my focus? Where your mind goes, the energy flows. Does it flow to myself and give me power? Or does it flow to other things? Energy robbers. I'm very convinced. In top level sport is the self-efficacy. How do I talk to myself? And that's very easy. If I stand at the slalom start, World Championship, my best year was 1990. I was 3 times World Best Champion and 2 times second. And in slalom I won the gold, and I know very good standing there, looking down, and self-efficacy is, what do you say to yourself? Do you say, "Oh, it's so cold today, and it's so steep, and it's so icy, I hate ice. Oh, and it's such a difficult course, my God." And if I look to my opponent, my God, oh God, oh God, oh God. No, then you have to go home. You have nothing to do in the starting gate of a slalom. You have to stay there, stand there, look down, smile into yourself and say, "I feel it very good. The axe of the world is going right through me. And today I give a shit who is losing against me." Yeah? Okay, you're standing like that. Okay. Not all the times you win, but it gives you a lot of power. Okay, from day-to-day living, you are not always at the start of a slalom, but maybe you know this is the ice cream thing here. She is the couple, she's lying in the bathtub, and he is now on the scales. Wow, despite of not insignificant growth of weight, my diet is a great success. After all, I was successful to achieve in 3 weeks a negative decrease of weight of only 4 kilos. If you remember that in my last diet I gained 7 kilos of weight, the 4 kilos of this time is not only a success, but a change of trend and a big step into the perfectly direction. What does the lady think? Why did I marry a politician? No, that's where we are very good in, I think. And we eat ice cream tonight, both of us. Yeah? Talent is awareness and conviction. Are you convinced of your talent? So try the best you can do, not the others can do. What yourself is possible. Strengthen your strength, not look always after your weakness. It's just a poor life when you always, "Oh no, I can't do this, I can't do that," and then in the evening you say, "I found 2 people who are even worse than me. What a perfect day." No! For me, it would be good, yeah, I wouldn't do that. The pessimist, maybe at the very end, at the end of the day. Right, but the optimist has the much better journey to that point. So for me it's clear, I'm the optimist, of course. In this concentrating on ability, on talent, and what can I do, is your resilience, your skipjack. So how do you get up if you were pushed down, or if you stumbled down? How do you get up again? If you can trust in yourself, if you have a firm ground, if you take on responsibility, you have a good chance to recover from that point. Number 4, I treat others as I want to be treated, which is quite important for team building, for example. There is the golden rule, New Testament Sermon of the Mount. If you want, if you want to be treated as the other treats you, then you are treated. You know what I mean. So treat others as you want to be treated. Oh, thank you. Now I have it. Yeah. Treat others as you want to be treated. Are you the caveman or the oak tree? The oak tree says, okay, second chance. I didn't get that. Could you repeat that, please? And the caveman would say, hey, you don't do that a second time. I'll show you who's the boss here. I'm louder, I'm bigger, I'm better. No, you don't have to do that. That's bullshit. No, it's a waste of time and a waste of energy. Positive energy is wasted by that. The cleverer gives in, but never gives up. If you think, that's not my day, that's not my boss's day, that's not I don't know whose day, then you say, okay, I'll come tomorrow or next week. If it's important for me, I try to catch up, but the timing is important. I have a feeling of timing. And if the timing is good, in project management, with the teams you have, timing is so important. And my most loved question when I ask for, hey, please do a team building thing for our team. They are, I don't know, the air is out or whatever. The energy is somewhere else, but not in the team. My first question, I love to do that, is who is responsible for good atmosphere? Who has that role? Because in a good team you don't have positions, you have roles. Who has the roles? The role, good atmosphere. And then, huh? That's not a role. We have a time save hour, we have a meeting organizer, we have a okay, that's the most important one. If you have a good working system or a good person who has a feeling for the atmosphere, so when you run again with your head against the wall, before you hit it, this woman or man says, hey, stop, I think this atmosphere is going to be there where we most of the time land. Who thinks the same? And then they have to tell. And most of them say, yeah, it's again those two. Those two, like 2 years ago, it's always the same. But we don't change the team, we don't change manners, don't change rules. It's always the same. And if those two are competing, every other says, okay, my smartphone, I'm doing my email now. The next 10 minutes, I know precisely what's going on. No, you need that person. The cleverer gives in, but never gives up. And that person says, okay, today we are tired, let's meet tomorrow at 9. Today, no. Let's have a beer. That can be a perfect thing for a team meeting. Giving gives. Giving time, giving good feeling, giving power. That boomerang you're throwing away is coming back with much more power than you threw it away. A man without a smile shouldn't open a business. And to be honest, nobody of us, nobody is not in his own business. We are all sellers of ourselves. Nobody wants to be a complete asshole. We want to be a good person for ourselves and for others. Most of us. You can use that in a positive way for yourself and for the others. No, man without a smile. If you're here quite well, you're a good team player. That's perfect. That's wonderful. That's good. It gives a good temperature to a team. And for smiling, love him. Well, I tried to be friendly. I tried. Okay, the chance of getting the goal is not very high, but he tried. And that's the point. Try and try and try. What our role model is giving into a team, giving into, or giving to customers, or giving to sponsors. You love to what? How did you say that? You love to delight your sponsors. That's it. Give them a smile and give them a lot of power and whatever, because you're exchanging power. It's not, I'm giving you advertising, you give me money. No, together you are better than everybody on a single way. Always try and try. And I'm sure with that kind, no problem to find another sponsor for next year. But you know that better than I. And number 5, I'm self-disciplined. That's the highest discipline, I think. And it starts with rhythm. The rhythm of our heart, of our day, of our biological daily rhythm, weekly, monthly. We have a life rhythm. With 25, we can go the 100 meter in 11 seconds. With 55, 15 seconds. But we don't have to go every single way again, which we did with 25. We are more experienced, we are more relaxed, we have so many things to give. That's a rhythm. It just changes. And with that, with a good rhythm, body, soul and spirit is in balance. You work hard, you give the best you can give. And if your soul then can say, okay, wow, now we had a good day, let's have a beer, or let's have a good weekend. Shut down your media completely at 8 o'clock in the evening latest. Not 10 o'clock, oh, I have to repeat, or I have to give an answer, or no, you are not so important. 8 o'clock, throw it into the corner, switch it on, I don't know, what is it, aeroplane mode or flight mode, or whatever. No, it's your time. You're not 24 hours on duty. That's a balanced thing. Self-discipline is energy, source and freedom. For example, weight. I have a maximum of 71 kilos. If I have 72, very easy, I can't reach my button of my trouser. If I can't reach my button of my trouser, I cannot put on my clothes, I can't put it out, I can't go to the toilet, I can't cook. So my motivation to reach my button is quite high. So even with a lot of ice cream, I love ice cream, 71 is the limit. Fitness, I know my back sometimes hurts a little bit, I'm now 57, it is allowed to hurt sometimes, but I try to be fit as possible. If I have a lot to do, I do a plan. And more important, I stick to that plan. I know myself now. I know what can I put into my plan and what is too much. No, not too much. I don't put in too much. But that has to be done. Because I want to do it. Not has. I want to do it. And book project. I wrote a book. I had 4 years ago I had to quit my job in the county government because I had retina detraction. It started on my right eye with 4 surgeries, and it went for 3 more years on the left side with 9 laser treatments and lots of operations. And so I had 4 years not seeing really good and having a lot of treatments. After that, the seeing nerve got nervous and it just shut down my eye. So I didn't see anything. So my left eye could have been blinded. I had to stop, to quit my job because reading was too much. Reading is, until now, heavy. So half an hour is okay, but not more. So I had to quit my job, and now since 4 years I do the seminar thing and talking and keynote speaking. And in former times it was not keynote speaking, it was giving Vortrag. Was heißt Vortrag? A lecture, yeah, lecture. In former times lecture, now keynote. The only difference is a keynote is better paid for. So I say, okay, a lot of keynotes. But in that time, I had to quit, when I had this eye problem, I had to quit playing the French horn. I had to cancel my number 9 Japanese tour. I had to cancel a lot of concerts with many colleagues. That was really hard. And after several weeks of really being traurig, being sad, I thought, is there something good in the bad? And I thought, maybe yes, because every single day I played 1 hour French horn, 60 minutes every single day. Even if I would, like here, be on tour, I always have my French horn with me, and in the room I play with a stop mute, so I can practice 1 hour. And I was not allowed anymore. No sports, no French horn. And I said, okay, now I could write a book, because I wanted that for many, many years. And normally you bring that to the coffin, is der Sarg? To the coffin. When I have time, I write a book. Yeah, and I'm like that too. But now I had an hour, and I put the hour at the beginning of the day. Stood up at 5 o'clock, wrote for 1 hour my book, and at 6 o'clock my normal day started. I did that 2.5 years. The book is finished since about 4 years. I'm sorry, I have some books outside, if you like to, but it's only in German language, so even for Swiss people, maybe not easy. But I think I would have enough for the Swiss of you to sell. No, you know that, 4 hungry kids at home, so that's how it looks like. And if you like a signature, of course I give you a signature. You don't, and that's in English, so Matthias Berg in every language. So maybe that's only paid, but no. And I made a CD with my Japanese pianist. I made also in German the reading book in German. Yeah, some things which I liked. And I realized stand-up morning 15 minutes earlier than normal gives you a lot of power for the day. You have 15 minutes of time, and not breakfast in a hurry, or no breakfast, no. Time enough for breakfast. The first 4 hours are the most important ones, most energy, most concentration, so eat the frog in the morning. So whatever you don't like to do it in the morning, and the day will be perfect. You have lots of energy. No media at the wrong time, so mostly no media, sometimes of course media, but think about how you deal with that. And 3 + 1 + math. 3 + 1 means 3 days today I'm thankful for, and 1 thing I'm looking for tomorrow. What is important? What was not so good today? What am I working at tomorrow? And map means the morning action plan. In the evening, I think about what do I have to do the next day. And then you have never ever problems to sleep, because everything is planned, is on a piece of paper, and you are set. So internally you can say, wow, that was a good day. Let's see what's tomorrow. Never ever give up. And you see, humor. Humor is always good. I love that. So are you the driver or the backseat driver? That's self-discipline. Our mindset is the precondition to success. With a good mindset, with a good smile, many things are possible. Much more than we ever thought. If you would have asked me when I was 20, will you be one of the best sportsmen in the world, in the disabled world? Will you study double? Will you be on tour all over the world? Will you? I would have said, I think you are stupid. That is not possible. And it grew, because step by step, little by little step, it grew. And I had a lot of fun. I take action. I take responsibility. I concentrate on ability. I give joy and time. I'm fair. I'm disciplined. With those things, for me, it worked quite well. A little bit of a garnish we need, so a little bit of cream over the pudding. Yeah, and I found that also for our souls, maybe. You know that if you go to the pharmacy and some things go without recipe, that's called over the counter. OTC. I've learned that, over the counter. But the O is optimism. Yes, I can do that. Of course, I try. I give my best. The T is thankfulness. That looks back what we experience in our lives, how life was. Be thankful for that, how it worked. And I'm thankful for the heavy parts, because they forced me to digest thoughts. With a normal life, maybe I would have never been forced to think about being discriminated, or what is your ability, or what is for you a responsibility, or how do I get along with people without that bridge. I have to be the bridge. If somebody else does it, super, but take it on me. If it doesn't work with us two, it's my fault. So if it's my fault, I can change it. If it's your fault, I have no chance. Thankfulness. And C is cordiality. Cordiality is one of the most healthy emotions we can have. And it gives you eternal, this kind of, yes, good, zurückgelehntheit. So the leaning a little bit back, smiling and say, yeah, full power, super. Half hour you gave me. And I wish all the best for PMI, for yourself, for the company you're working for whatever you experience in life, for whatever you want to do. And I would love if one or two thoughts you say, yes, maybe I can take that and think about that and help me to get the best I can be. Thank you so much.